All right, so you did your homework last night. That was Wednesday night. And tonight your homework is to check your homework from last night so that you know that you are ready for the quiz tomorrow. Pay attention to the sentences because the ones on the quiz are very similar. Also, just as a bonus, for those of you that watched to the end of this video, there's going to be a code word. And if you write it on the top of the quiz near your name tomorrow, you can earn a bonus 2 points. All right, so your first sentence was, David won the speaking contest last year. If you look, we've got the baseline with David won contest. Contest is your direct object. Last modifies year, which both modify when he won it, so they're functioning as adverbs. They should go under one, and as you can see, last modifies year, and the and speaking modify contest. Sentence number 2, please turn the pages carefully. That's a command. It's an imperative statement. So you've got your baseline and you have your implied subject, which is you. You show that it is implied by putting the parentheses around it. Your predicate is turn. Turn is an action verb, so you have a direct object, which is pages. The modifies pages. It's an article, or as we call it, an adjective. Please and carefully both modify how we want you to turn. So please carefully turn the pages. Number 3, you have a compound subject with a predicate and a direct object. So your compound subject is my sister and I. My should be capitalized. Sister should not be because my is the beginning word in the sentence. You've got your coordinating conjunction on the dotted line. Now, if you'll notice, I just realized this right now. I'm sure you all did as soon as you saw this slide. I'm missing my line in between my subject and my predicate. So I hope you have a line there because otherwise this would actually be wrong. Share is your predicate. It is an action verb. So you would say, well, what do they share? They share a room. All right, so room is your direct object, and you've got 2 modifiers for room, a and small. Number 4 has a direct and an indirect object. Please remember, you can never have an indirect object without a direct object. You can have direct objects all over the place and never see an indirect object because you see that on all 3 of these. But in here we both have a direct object and an indirect object. The sentence is, our neighbor gave me some flowers. On your baseline, you've got neighbor gave flowers. Great. Our modifies neighbor, and it needs to be capitalized. Some modifies flowers. Now, if you remember, your indirect object is always between your verb and your direct object, and you show that by putting it under the verb. Who did he give them to? He gave them to me. So you've got your line and then your indirect object. All right, so that's the first 4. Let's move on. Next 4. I've got Vera and Catherine built and programmed the robot. So I have a compound subject, a compound predicate, yet a single direct object. So we've done this in class before, but this is what it looks like. I've got my subject lines, Vera and Catherine. Both are capitalized because they're proper nouns. I actually remembered my line between my subject and my predicate. I've got built and programmed because that's the compound predicate. Then I've got my direct object line, and the modifies robot. Not that hard. Looks kind of cool. All right, number 6, Mrs. Clark talks loudly. Very simple sentence. You have a subject and a predicate. Mrs. Clark talks. And then you have a modifier, loudly. Well, does loudly modify Mrs. Clark or talks? Obviously, it modifies talks, just like I'm talking loudly right now. So you've got Mrs. Clark talks. Number 7, Dr. Hansard read his class a story. So on our baseline, we have Dr. Hansard, who is the subject, read, who is the action verb. So what did he read? He read a story, which makes a story your direct object, being the modifier. His class is who he read it to. It's the indirect object, so if you look, you show it's an indirect object by that. And there you've got class, and then his modifies class, so you have it under there. Number 8, Alex wrote the president a letter. Once again, you have a baseline. You have Alex, which should be capitalized, wrote, which is your action verb. What did Alex write? A letter. There's your direct object, modifies letter. Well, to whom? Alex wrote the president, so the president is your indirect object, and the modifies president. All right, almost there. Flip your paper over. All right, in this case, we have a compound subject, a compound predicate, and each predicate has their own direct object. So we have Dad and Ben cut the grass and planted flowers. And I just saw the mistake I made. I'm sure you all already noticed it already. I forgot my dotted line on my and. I am so sorry. Fix that on yours. So I've got Dad and Ben. And is my coordinating conjunction. Dad and Ben should both be capitalized. Well, first they cut the grass. Cut is your action verb. Grass is your direct object. The is the modifier. Here I'm missing my and. They planted. There's my action verb. The flowers. Flowers is my direct object. The modifies flowers. Great. Number 10. Same as number 3. I gave you one twice. Consider it a bonus. Not even going to go over it with you. Hopefully you got it right. If not, check number 3. Number 11, the angry cat howled very loudly. In this case, there's not a direct object, so there cannot be an indirect object. It's a very simple sentence. The cat howled, or cat howled. The, an angry, modify cat. Notice I capitalized the. And it howled very loudly. Very modifies loudly. Very almost never gets to go right underneath the verb. It always connects to another adverb. Then we've got Faith and Cindy were absent yesterday and today. So my subject is Faith and Cindy. I've got my coordinating conjunction. I forgot my line again. Wow, you guys could really ding me on this. I'm so sorry. I must have been thinking robotics. Were absent is my verb phrase. And the modifiers are yesterday and today because it tells me when they were absent. All right, final 4. Almost there. Not as fun as the final 4 in basketball, but hey. Mrs. Smalley baked chocolate chip cookies. Pretty easy sentence. Mrs. Smalley baked and cookies are on our baseline. Subject, predicate, direct object. What did she bake? Cookies. And chocolate and chip modify cookies. If you had chocolate chip all in one line, I would take that. No stress about that. All right, Dr. Adams gave my brother a shot. And I should have an A under there. Wow, all sorts of mistakes tonight. Dr. Adams is our subject. Gave is our action verb. What did he give? He gave a shot. Because there's a direct object, we look to see if there is an indirect object, which there is. The indirect object is brother, and my modifies brother. So that's what that looks like. And don't forget to put a my under the shot, or a shot. All right, make the bed now. Once again, we have an imperative statement, which means there is an implied subject. So on our baseline, I have my implied subject of you. I'm showing that it's implied by putting it in parentheses. I have make, which is my verb, and it's capitalized because it's the first word in the sentence. What should they make? The bed. Bed is your direct object. The modifies bed. Well, when should it be done? Well, now. Make it now. So now is an adverb and it modifies make, when it should be done. Last but not least, I've got Dalton in here. Dalton played, and I forgot I see the my modifier on piano. The piano beautifully. Dalton is my subject. Played is my action verb. What did Dalton play? He played the piano. I should have a the right there. And then beautifully is how he played. So hopefully you will do better on your quiz tomorrow than I did on my sheet tonight, because I think I probably missed 3 or 4, which would not give me the score that I would want. The answer to the riddle that I asked at the beginning, or yesterday, is a shadow. I don't even know if you remember the riddle, because I'm not sure I remember it. But the answer is a shadow. And I know this is what you've all been waiting for, the code word, so you can get 2 bonus points. And so the code word is Morgana. And that's the name of my robot competing at Super Regionals right now. If you misspell Morgana, I'll accept it. Just capitalize it because she's a proper noun. Have a great night. I can't wait to see you guys on Monday. Bye. Do well on your quiz.